IVM.
Hey everyone, welcome to Shunya One, episode 155. How are you doing, Amit?
I'm good, man. Super excited about this conversation. I mean, like we've been having good conversations over the last few months, but this one
Yeah,
is really interesting too, right? I think he's an old friend of yours, but beyond that,
yeah,
I'm really impressed with the. I'm like, I mean, I really like what they're doing. I mean,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's cool
And
as hell, right?
they've done it on the back of some, a lot of interesting stuff they've built out in the product side,
Hmm.
which I'm so glad we got talking about in the conversation. We are obviously chatting with Piyush Kumar, who's the founder and CEO of Router. And they're an interesting app. You'll hear all about it. But Amit, I also noticed that you are sitting in a interesting new background. You want to tell our folks about that?
Well, there's magic happening, man. What can I say? Part of that magic
Yes,
is we're back in office. We're back in studio, different studio, new and improved. Still being kind of sort of set up, but at least like the soundproofing and stuff like that's done. So I can sit out here and like do this kind of recording. But hopefully,
exactly.
Shiladitya, once I think that I'm hoping that within the month, right, we should be both sitting over here and like doing this like in person with other people.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that'll be awesome. You
Yeah,
already sound like your radio voice is back. Let me tell you,
dude, I
with
don't
the
have a radio voice compared to you.
with
My radio voice is weak. It's nothing.
well, the studio helps. Well,
The
this nice
studio helps.
soundproofing helps.
The studio does for
Awesome,
sure.
awesome. I can't wait to be back either. But let's take a break and jump into this conversation with Piyush. I'm sure you all will love it.
I was just thinking about how fascinating it was to watch AI evolve from the technology of the future to the technology that powers today. Real world applications of AI are now solving complex problems, making processes more efficient and creating new realities. From chatbots to smart shopping to personalized healthcare and autonomous cars, AI is changing the way we live, work, travel, and do business. Intel makes AI more flexible through the platform's innovations and an unparalleled choice of domain specific AI accelerators for those pushing the limits. Intel CPUs with built in AI acceleration are now fastest for most AI workloads. And with innovative memory, storage, connectivity, and security technologies on the same platform, you can wrangle larger, more distributed, and more confidential datasets. Wonderful, isn't it? To discover more about Intel AI and its applications in your industry, visit intel.in.
Hey Piyush, how are you doing? Welcome to Shunya One.
I'm doing great, great. Good to see both of you. I've been listening to all the content for so many months and years, and so happy to be here. So thanks for inviting me.
My goodness, my goodness. No, no, you were, we have known each other for a while, so I know you were always on our, wish list of folks who could come talk to us. And thank you so much for also being a listener. But
Yeah.
it's great having you. Lots of exciting things to talk about, of course.
Mhm.
But how have you been? How is your how is Diwali week going for you? And what is happening on your side of the world? I would say work side.
Yeah, so Diwali is good. So I live in North India, right? I live in New Delhi. So Diwali is very hectic, as
Yeah,
we were discussing, because we are. I mean, the entire socializing scene in Delhi, particularly, and here in North India, is very active during these weeks. So yeah, it's keeping us busy while the work still needs to be done. So yeah, very exciting time. Also, one good thing that whether it is a Diwali or any other festival, gaming never stops, which basically
correct.
means that we need to be at it. So that's the beautiful, beautiful part of the industry that we are in now. That
Yeah,
there is no break.
Correct.
can I ask you that question though? Right? I mean, like, well,
Yeah.
gaming. I mean, like, it comes from the. Well, gaming may never stop. Do people still consume content around gaming all the time? Does that also never stop?
Well, surprisingly, it is something which is completely constant. I mean, there is hardly any
Wow.
time period. I mean, somebody was asking me a few days back, what is the time period when people usually watch? Because typically in content there's a
Mhm.
behavior, right?
Right.
But here we have not seen anything in particular. I mean, even if you go on say our app and in the afternoon around 12 or 1 o'clock, or if you go at 12 o'clock in the midnight, you'll see somehow. I mean, there's a 15-20% variance here and there,
Right.
but
Wow.
sometimes it's even less, right? So no, there's nothing, because people who are playing games are also watching a lot of content. A lot of times we hear this insight that there are people who are watching and they're playing right in front of it on the phone. So it's like
Interesting.
crazy.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
I find that
Wow.
really interesting, right? Because the we see a different thing, right? Like, I mean, like for us, holidays are like a massive drop across the network,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Whether it's Christmas and New Year's, whether it's Diwali, whenever there's an extended kind of
yeah.
break, we see a big drop. So I'm really kind of wow. I'd love to understand more about why that is.
In,
Yeah.
in fact,
I mean,
like before we jump in,
Yeah.
what's the origin of this? Like, obviously, Router is is a streaming platform. It's a gaming streaming platform. There's so many layers to it. Why
yeah.
don't you take us back to like how this all started and your personal journey a little bit to get
Okay,
into
cool,
this?
cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, would love to share that. So I spent about almost 14 years in the corporate career, in the corporate life. Sorry, as a my career was into corporate, and I worked for companies like Swatch Group, which is the Swiss watch company, for 5 years as head of marketing for Rado watches. I worked in Dish TV during the high definition launch in India, and then I spent my formative years in advertising. So while I'm a computer graduate, it was the entire world of marketing, entire world of branding, and the way you reach out to consumers, which really interested me. And yeah, having spent so much of time, I just realized, and I was completely taken over by the way startups were changing the way we live, we interact, we transact. So early part of last decade, I started to consume pretty much everything which was available. All these companies, Zomato, Uber, Paytm, all these companies started to inspire a lot, and I thought maybe I can attempt to do something. So in 2016, started Router with a very clear objective of creating a technology platform that will connect people with each other.
Hmm.
And the first idea, or the first genre, in fact, something which is very close to me, is sports. So we said, let's connect sports fans with each other. So we'll
Right.
build an app or build a platform which will connect sports fans with each other, and that's how it started. And then first time entrepreneurs, one of the things which I think really missed, and I think one thing I tell everybody when any budding entrepreneur or whatever is that while working in a corporate career or working with a corporate really helps, but even if you're a first time entrepreneur, you should try and work with a startup before that, because you get a first
Hmm.
hand experience of how to build a company. So that was something I didn't have. So which is why we it took us about 3.5 years to build a good product. We survived quite a few near death moments, etc. And then in 2019, sports started to do well, but then we realized sports is always going to be a challenge, given the fact that in India, sports is pretty much Indian team's calendar, or whenever Indian team
Yeah.
is playing on IPL. So it's very difficult to build a sustainable business and at the same time build a large business when there are already so many successful sports companies.
Hmm.
So yeah, as an entrepreneur, we realized that probably this is not going to take off. So we needed to look around something where we could apply our learning and platform into something nicer and a bigger. Which is when gaming started to take off in India by 2018, 2019. PUBG, Free Fire, all these games started to take off, and pandemic was the trigger. As soon as pandemic happened, we said there's anyways no sports. Let's just give it a shot if gaming can work, and we
Hmm.
we, we gave that shot. We took that chance, and yeah, it worked. We have a very strong product market fit now. Lots to do, but we have actually got started on a good note.
And
So
what
in
is
brief,
the tech and platform like? I mean, what is it? I
yeah,
mean, we understand game streaming. So some folks for sure who are
yeah,
exposed to that world probably know this really well, but it's still nascent in India, if
yeah.
I may say so.
I mean, it's nascent. It's small as compared to the overall content industry, but
Hmm.
still about. I mean, our guess is that still about 80 to 100 million people consume gaming content in some or the other way, and largely
Wow.
YouTube is the one. YouTube is the one where it got triggered. So if you go on YouTube and if you look at the following of big streamers, you'll see that the one with the maximum following is about 30 million,
Mhm.
right? And
Wow.
there are a lot of people who are following between 1 to 10 million or even going up to 15 million. So there are a lot of people who are already consuming this particular content, but yeah, it's still small. Like it's not like a typical content. A typical large content industry would be what, 300 400 million people consuming a particular thing. In gaming,
Hmm.
it is about 100 million, is where it is at this stage. But the good thing is that the number of people playing games in India is very high now. I mean, it's stated to cross 500 million next year. And out of
Wow.
500 million, there is a particular category which is called first person shooter category. The number of people playing those games will be north of 250 million, which typically means that more than 200 250 million people will consume this kind of a content. So one, that is the roughly market where we look at, roughly the market size where we look at, and it's growing very
Mhm.
very fast. In terms of products, see, it's like an app, right? So we are available on web, we are available on Android and iOS, but our core product is Android. And
Mhm.
it's exactly the way you experience, say a YouTube or a short form video platform or whatever, where you open up, you see quite a lot of live content available. So in the case of a gaming, it's less recorded videos or short videos, it's more streaming. So 85%
Hmm.
of video, 85% of content in gaming is streaming. So when you open up,
Ah,
you'll see,
okay.
like, maybe, I mean, on an average on our app, anything between 800 to 1200 concurrent sessions are happening.
Wow. Okay.
So
Wow.
800 to 1200 concurrent channels are live. So you can pick up whichever you want to go into, or if you have a favorite, you'll get a notification, or our algo will show up the most popular one, and yeah, then you get into it, and then it grips you. That's the thing, that once you get into it and you see somebody playing and also talking and interacting with others, it's magic. Seriously, it's like, sometimes I mean, when we started, I couldn't believe why people do it, and that's the most important question everybody asks us, that why people watch others play. But
Yeah, I'd
it's
really like to understand that. I mean, like, what have you all found from that, right? I mean, like, there's psychological reasons. What's the
yeah.
what? I
So
mean, or is it just like how tos? I mean, like, what is the what are the reasons people listen to watch this kind of thing? I watch it, so I know that it's fun to watch, but I'm just trying to
yeah.
understand, why do people watch these kinds of things?
So multiple reasons, and there are multiple insights that we have now where we know what the trigger is. One of the trigger is very clearly that this is a very high adrenaline content. Particularly first person shooter, right? I mean, a
Right.
game like a FIFA or any other sports game is fine. You also see it. I mean, the emotions are very similar to the way, for example, you watch
Live
football
sports.
team
Yeah.
playing, right? But first person shooter is like, imagine watching an action movie, right? If you're watching an action movie, you're off your seat for like 1.5 hours, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of chasing, fighting, all those things happening. So these games are something which are very high adrenaline. So it's something that is never boring. I mean, it's hardly a
Hmm.
moment in a game where you're getting bored and somebody's just doing something normal. There's always one thing. So one is the fact that it's a great content. Second, it's one of the ways in which people sort of connect with each other. So say I am a BGMI fan, and I am also a fan of, say, a big streamer, right? So when
Hmm.
I get into his room, I am able to connect with him. I am able to connect with other people. So there's a lot of that's behavior is very much like sports. That if a lot of fans of a particular team get into the same room, they'll tend to discuss a lot, and that is how it typically
Right.
happens. Third, and one of the most important one, is that people also consume a lot of, so people who play games also consume a lot of such game content, which is why I said that the overall market of about 250 million, by 250 million people by next year, would be the addressable market for us, because pretty much
Right.
everybody who's playing is also consuming content. In this case, it really works. And that therefore is more of a habit, that sometimes you don't feel like playing, so you'll just switch it on, say, a router or YouTube or loco, and then you'll just watch, because you're getting a very similar emotion, right? One of
Hmm.
the fourth, and one of the most interesting one, is that this is a great way for people to learn how to play better. So a lot
Right.
of times you tend to watch a big streamer or a better player or whatever, because you learn few tricks which you don't know. And last but not the least, it's also a great way to discover new games, because there are a lot of games which
Hmm.
are like, for example, when BGMI got launched, or tomorrow any other new game comes in, right? A Free Fire
Hmm.
user can say, "Let me just watch few sessions and see how it works," and then you can
Yeah.
pick
If
it
it's
up. So
fun or
multiple.
not, if it's interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I mean, in the middle of all of this, the larger reason is that gaming in itself is a very high adrenaline sort of a content, and second is the community angle. The community angle in gaming is very very strong. Yeah.
Can you expand
Yeah.
on that,
And
the community angle? Sorry,
So,
Shiladitya, didn't mean to.
yeah,
No,
okay.
please
So,
go ahead,
so,
Piyush.
so, so by community angle, I mean that in this particular case, it works very much like a typical celebrity and fan behavior, right? So for them, following a particular streamer or a particular gamer is a moment of pride. Is a moment of they can relate to it. They are a part of a tribe and all of that, right? So for gamers, it's very important that they look up to somebody or they follow somebody. And then, so
Hmm.
typically how it happens is that when two gamers meet, they will discuss somebody's game, how it happened. So very similar to the way sports is. And the other reason is that within gaming, there are a lot of communities get built. So one of the communities is about the type of games you play. One of the communities is about whom you follow. One of the communities
Hmm.
is about what is the geography, what is the language, because this is very language agnostic. I mean,
Hmm.
there is no nothing that can stop people in different communities, because all you're doing is speaking. So there is no
Hmm.
text, there is no video production, nothing. I mean, somebody is playing and somebody is talking, right? So it just connects people a lot with each other. So that community angle is very strong here.
Interesting. And the last point you made was that obviously people are trying to learn how to play better. But all of these games are fair. I mean, most of the games which people watch are solo games, right? Like
Oh, so
FPS games are most of the time solo. Like you play, maybe you're doing some sort of team play, maybe you're doing playing in like a like a online group game, but it's individual skill most of the time. Is that right? And does that drive any particular kind of behavior in watching it also?
yeah, so no, so first person shooter category is typically less solo and more about the team and the community, and in a sense that
Okay.
people play together. So three, four of them or
Ah,
five of them will play together. So it's always helpful if you're playing in a group.
Hmm.
So which is the
right.
reason, I mean, one of the insights of this category is that you will never see somebody playing without a headphone. Okay, and the reason they are on headphone is because audio plays a very important role when they're playing. So they are
Hmm.
They're
actually
talking to
connected
their
with each other.
teammates.
They're talking to
Yeah.
their teammates, and they are actually discussing, because somebody is at a certain angle, and he can see an enemy approaching, and then he can advise him that don't go there because you'll get shot or whatever,
Hmm.
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
it's all, and the entire thing is about being safe. The game is about, of course, eliminating
Staying
your
alive,
your your
continuing. Yeah.
opponents, but then about surviving, because then you discover a lot of things and you win a lot of points and all of that. So I would say still a very team sort of a game, but then skills are individual. You're absolutely right. The skills are
Mhm.
individual. You need to have all the skills to be able to play. And
And does this affect how people stream or how people watch? Like, if you and I were in a gaming team, like,
yeah,
and that's also another aspect of this whole. I think this market I would
yeah,
love to understand from you, because
yeah,
professional esports, as they say, or professional gaming is becoming a thing. So
yeah.
as that happens, does streaming become a much more important part of upskilling for such people? I guess that's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the best ways for people to pick up their game or to form better strategies is to watch a lot of content. That is what is available with them. So a lot of teams, when they practice, they rely a lot on the streaming platforms. They are able to. I mean, all the content that somebody, for example, streams on Router is actually recorded. It's available on their profile. We never delete it. And imagine
Right.
this kind of a content getting created multiple times in a day and multiple times and probably every day of the month and so on and so forth. So the content that gets created here is actually very authentic and very rich in terms of the insights and everything that people have. And the streaming part of it is very important, because one, looking at the way the content is, people are able to discuss each other and see. For example, most of the time there is also a team captain who's not playing, but he's able to advise all his six players while they're competing in a game, because he's able to see the content through a streaming platform.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so because he can always see through that. And last but not the least, there is a lot of element of the fans interacting with the streamer through the entire audio video. So for example, we have built multiple features where if you want to join up a streamer, you can join in through an audio chat and you can do it. That's where Discord plays a very important role. Discord
Hmm.
Right.
traditionally have been used for people to connect with audio, but there are
Mhm.
now most of the streaming platforms are trying to build features under which both video and audio interaction between a streamer and a follower or a fan can actually happen within the app. You don't need, say, an external device for it. But
Hmm.
Wow.
lots will change, lots will improve as we move.
Interesting. If so, you mentioned that. So right now, first person shooters are the primary form, right? This doesn't seem to be like what I remember as like what people were watching initially, right? I mean, like way back when, right? I remember there was a lot of Age of Empire and a lot of StarCraft and a lot of those kinds of games, which are more kind of that. So Do you think that it's because of the increase in mobile gaming that first-person shooters have become so dominant in this kind of
Hmm.
a streaming thing, or was that something that was just happening anyway? Because I remember Counter-Strike was big back then too, but I mean, like I
Yeah,
always felt like the Age of Empires people were like celebrities, right? Like I mean, like there were people who knew
yeah.
who they were like all over the world.
Yeah. No, so gaming has evolved. You're absolutely right. I mean, Age of Empire, and there are many other such games which used to be at that point in time had a lot of people streaming, and basically Twitch started to build around that quite a bit,
Right.
right? But then Dota came, and there are multiple other games came that
Hmm.
changed. In India, particularly, I mean, if you look at the world around us, it's mobile gaming which has completely transformed the way our entire gaming community works.
Hmm.
India is predominantly a mobile gaming market, which is why for anybody to get into the Indian gaming, you'll have to think mobile first, just like any other and on many other categories. And that's where the games, the more popular game on mobile in India is are actually first person shooter, and then there is Ludo. So Ludo is an exception, very casual, very Indian, very gamish. I mean, Gamish has done a phenomenal job in building that game, and we all got hooked to it at some point during the lockdown, etc. But PUBG is the one that really changed the market forever, and full credit to that game. Of course, it got banned, it got relaunched in the form of BGMI, and of course, Free Fire
Right.
came and Call of Duty and all these games. But PUBG, I mean, we always say this that it's once in a generation game. The quality of the game and the way they managed to bring everything on a mobile was amazing and is amazing. I mean, that's why the community is so strong.
Right. So that has to do with the graphic quality and that kind of thing. Those are the
Yeah,
reasons why it
Yeah.
is an attractive thing to watch.
graphic quality, the way the way game continues to evolve, all the other thing that you can do within the game in terms of weapons and so many other things, all the
It's just the
avatars you can
variety
create.
and depth. I think it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
it's very
you
good.
can do so much personalization within the way you play.
That's right.
Uh, yeah, and the fact that it's like a large world, right? Large world
That's
games
right.
always, I think, attract a lot of people
That's
and
right.
get them to sort of
That's
jump
right.
in. Uh,
That's right. So yeah,
you know,
that's
Piyush,
how it changed.
I have a lot of questions around like the nature of the platform that you guys have built. But before we do that, maybe we take a quick break, come back and talk to you some more.
Absolutely. I'll also grab a cup of coffee and then we can immediately come back.
Let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Hey man, how's it going?
All good, man. All this work we've been doing with Intel off late on the network and on this show particularly, it's made me really want to kind of look into the things that they've been working on, right? I mean, like, and it's so cool.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely worth doing. You think beyond making chips, right? There's a lot of stuff that they definitely are doing to support all kinds of businesses. So yeah, really, I need to see the depth of what they can do.
So I was looking into some of their AI offerings, and the more time I spent reading the more the more impressed I was.
Wow, it blows my mind how much they can help with putting together AI based systems. Actually, whether it's reference ideas or tech or what have you. So there's a lot that they do. What did you catch up on?
I'm going to tell you about like one particular case study I looked at, right? So there's a water utility called DC Water, and basically they built an AI system with Wipro and Intel. The system was significantly able to drop the number of inspections they had to do because the diagnostics got more powerful. What they had is they had the system which analyzed water flow, and based on that water flow that they were looking at, they were able to figure out what parts of the system were performing up to the mark and what part of the systems had problems. So instead of having to do all of these inspections constantly, they could just automatically send people out to fix the problems. And I mean, like, I was just like, this was amazing in my mind.
Yeah, and that's like an incredible use of AI in the real world. It's real and practical. I mean, just thinking about it allows you to think of, diagnostics versus maintenance at a whole different level. It's incredible. Like any others you checked out and worth going through.
Yeah, they've got a ton of case studies and examples and a whole bunch of things like that for people to look at about AI. So, you should definitely go to intel.in and check out some of these things that they have there.
Awesome. I will do. You said intel.in. Definitely going to do some reading tonight. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Piyush was telling us a lot about this fascinating industry of gaming and gaming streaming. Piyush, just to continue on, the product you guys have built, obviously, right?
Yeah.
You have you said your primary, I would say, product is on Android, where people watch, on their phone, and they're continuously they're watching live streaming. So obviously there's a massive amount of tech that you guys
Yeah,
have had to build, right? I mean,
yeah,
live streaming, you said almost up to 1,000 people streaming at the same time, plus
yeah,
all
yeah,
of this is recorded for people to go back on and consume. Plus you have these multiple audio and video synchronous sort of channels also happening.
yeah,
So it sounds like a very complex product. I mean, when I say complex, meaning a powerful product, right? That you
yeah,
guys have
yeah,
built. How
yeah,
was it doing this? Given that again, the market is fairly new for this kind of technology. You
yeah.
said Discord, which is like a huge platform globally, is one of the very few people in this business. So how has
Yeah.
it been sort of building this from the ground up in India with that kind of tech we have? What's the state of the art? Like, tell us about the product journey a little bit.
Yeah, sure, sure. So very, very interesting. In fact, I don't think anybody has asked this question before, so it's very interesting that you asked. And so let me tell you a story. So how it started is when we were doing sports, we were very clear that you cannot build features which are available on other platforms. Okay.
Hmm.
So for example, when we were doing sports UGC content, we couldn't just come up with say, okay, update a status or upload a picture or upload a video, you know,
Hmm.
because that's something which is available everywhere, right? So why will they come to Router? So one of the
Yeah.
things that we first thought, I'm talking about early 2019, late 2018, we said we'll build two features, which is about live audio and live
Hmm.
video. So we'll build a feature. I mean, Instagram Live and all that were little early those days. I mean, it would have perhaps just come. So we said we'll build a feature under which two, three fans can come together on audio and can talk and even do commentary or do few things while the match is going on. I'm talking
Hmm.
about sports days. And
This
similarly in
pre-Clubhouse
video,
also.
pre-Clubhouse. So our Clubhouse version was, I'm not kidding, March 2019, right before the IPL of 2019 and then Cricket World Cup 2019. Okay, we had
Wow.
a full-fledged 8,000 to 10,000 people community. Our highest was the once during one of the matches had 145 different commentary sessions going on Router when we built that
Wow.
feature.
Nice.
Imagine those days. I mean,
Nice.
right from somebody like an Akash Chopra or few ex-cricketers and even Tanmay Bhatt, going down to people, somebody in Assam or somebody in Bengal who was doing commentary in Assamese, and there were like 20, 30, 100 people listening to him. So that was our first product. Okay. So what happened is that during the sports, so we started to build a streaming technology much earlier in our journey, much before we got into game streaming. And
Mhm.
complete credit to my product team, my tech team, which we started to work with Agora, we started to work with Akamai, AWS, of course. We use Clever Tap for a lot of analytics, and then the features started to get built. Okay, so we built multiple features. We kept on improving the experience, and by the end of 2019, we had a very decent, stable product in streaming, but there was
Mhm.
no gaming. Okay, when we decided to get on with game streaming in March or April 2020, it became a little easy for us because we had a basic infrastructure ready with us, right? We just needed to convert that into a game streaming tech. And there
Mhm.
also, I mean, Dipesh, my co-founder, Sagnik, they had a great vision. They said, we will not use an external streaming tool, because when you use an external streaming tool, your cost can never be in control, because we knew it's
Yeah.
going to be a massive sort of a product. I mean, not in terms of growth, but in terms of the size of the tech and everything and the cost. So we actually went and made our own streaming tool, which is one of the reasons that
Wow.
our tech cost is very much under control, and we are actually running a very effective business with a very strong EBITDA. Otherwise, it's just not sustainable. I mean, streaming. One of the reasons streaming technologies or products are not able to scale, and this is what we have learned over the last 1.5 years, is because it's very expensive technology,
Right.
right? So we built our own streaming tool, and that helped us produce so one, that helped us control costs over a period of time. Secondly, because we had our own streaming tool, we could build at least 10 more engaging features or engagement features that nobody else has in the market.
Wow.
So this has been our journey. Yeah. So firstly, this is one part of the journey, that thanks to the fact that we thought about live audio, live video during sports, then we thought about game streaming, then the tech team actually went ahead and decided to build a lot on tech. And then of course, when we were building, then the other interesting thing happened is that even for the viewers and everything that we are doing in terms of, how do we provide the best resolution, how do we ensure it's so optimized that it's not consuming data at the viewers end, because if that happens, then nobody's going to
Yeah.
go on your platform. So you have to ensure that the data consumption on viewers end is as less as possible. I mean, at least not more than
Right.
what they are doing otherwise. And but the key thing on our product, and I'm quite proud to say this, that and and this happened because we believe in a certain philosophy which really works for us, that we wanted the streaming tool, that so we first wanted to have our app, to have one app where the streaming uh, creation tools and the consumption tools are within the same app. So if you go on
Ah,
the
okay.
market right now, no product in India gives you both. Even on YouTube, if you try to stream, they'll
Yeah,
ask
you
for
have
a
a
thousand
separate
subscribers.
creator.
1,000 subscribers. They ask you for so if you want to use YouTube streaming tool, you need 1,000 subscribers to get there. On Router, our vision was that anybody who plays a game should be able to stream, which basically means we needed to make tools which are very easy to use, and we needed to make it within the same app. So
Right.
today, 17 to 17.5% of people who download Router every month actually create content. And that is because
Wow,
our
that's a large
vision is
number.
that it's a very large number. I mean, close to, I mean,
It's
900, almost 911,000, which means almost a million unique people create content on Router every month.
no, it's an
I'm not
insane
saying,
number.
yeah,
If I remember
yeah,
correctly, the market rate, sorry, the normal standard for
Ratio, yeah,
UGC
is
is like
5%,
1%.
95.
I think it's like
5%.
1%, dude.
Yeah, 1%. So
For
if,
Yeah.
UGC for consumption versus this at any kind of scale, I think the numbers are
yes,
like 1.5%. I don't think it's at 5. So
yeah,
that's
that's
like
right.
that's huge.
Yeah, so this will normalize over a period of time. Okay, this will normalize. It used to be 20, it's come down to 17. Eventually, it may. But what one of the key objectives of, or one of the key things that we are doing in the market, and we like to believe that somebody has to do it, is that you cannot rely on the 100 streamers on YouTube, right? Or say
Mhm.
500 streamers on YouTube. For this market to blow up, you need to create the next 100,000 going up to next 1 million streamers, and that cannot happen. I mean, we as a platform cannot believe that somebody will do it. Somebody will make
Mhm.
this community and then they come on Router and will succeed. It cannot happen. So we said we will have to do it. So for us to do it, we made the most accessible, most easy to use, and the best what do you call experience product, and a very complex
Mhm.
product that turned out to be much easy. And at the same time, we have a very strong community team which is led by a guy called Akshay, who went ahead and literally recruited the next whatever 5,000 to 10,000 people who are streamers, but nobody knows them. I mean, somebody has
Oh,
thousands
wow.
followers, somebody has 10,000 followers. So our team, we have a strong team that literally goes on scouting people who are streaming, and whether it is a female streamer or people who are doing it in face cam, etc. They bring them under our creator program, then we teach them or we guide them on how to do better, and then they grow their following. So it's tech plus the community angle which has really made us stand out, or probably the reason we like to believe that we have a better chance to succeed in the market. And that is the
Nice.
biggest moat, because we have a good technology and we have a set of community which is very true and very core to us.
And that's amazing, right? Because you said, I mean, one is you built all this tech, it's running, it's scaling so well. At the same time, you're doing the community bit. So you're actually doing a bunch of things simultaneously while sort of expanding your reach and your scale. So,
Yeah,
doing and obviously, like you said, it's also a newish sort of a genre for the country, where our gaming numbers are just sort of catching up. While the
yeah,
numbers are amazing going forward, uh, and you're running all of this, what is your monetization? I mean, that's the obvious
yes,
sort of VC question maybe, but it's a very pertinent question for the businesses in general, and
yeah,
not just for you, by the way. What's in it for, let's say, the streamers, right? Because these sort of
yeah,
creator platforms typically also have to be worth their time for the creators, right? I mean, I think that's where
yeah,
that's the theme everywhere going around. So how have you
yeah.
guys thought about that?
No, so very interesting question, and I always say this, that as entrepreneurs, or as people who are building business backed by VC money or angel investors money or whatever, we should have an outlook for monetization from day zero. Okay, we may make just $1,000 or 1 lakh or whatever 10 lakhs revenue in a month, but the fact is that if you're not attempting to make revenue from day one, that means you're just leaving it for some other day. and the fact is that that is the core of the business. So no, so we are the only platform in this space. I mean, besides YouTube, of course, amongst the Indian platforms, we are the only one which is making revenue, and we are making pretty decent revenue. I mean, we are on an ARR of almost 2.4 million. We are making about one and a half
Wow.
in crore rupees Indian money per month. And I'm saying this because this is public, so I can talk about it. And we, of course, our next goal is to get to 1 million monthly revenue, and then of
Wow.
course increase it
Nice.
from there. But let's do it one by one. So let's first say how creators make money. So the way creators make money is that everybody on Router, whether you're a viewer or you're a creator, you are all a part of a gamification process. What it means is that we believe that time is currency. So if as a viewer you're spending time on Router, or if as a creator you're creating any content, you're uploading a video, you're uploading an image, you are streaming content, you are a part of a coin economy. You'll get some coins depending on what the value of
Wow.
the content that you're viewing. Or so even if I'm a viewer, say I do 10 hours of watch time, I'll get some coin. Okay.
Wow.
And
Nice.
everybody gets a certain coin which is redeemable for any gaming voucher, or even for something like a Paytm or whatever. So you can redeem it. You can actually redeem it for certain things.
Mhm.
Now,
So it
so
has an
this is one.
intrinsic value, basically.
It
You're
has a, so
creating
it has
value.
a loop. Yeah, it has a loop, right? So you have coins. So everybody has, when the day you download Router, you'll see you have some coins, and then your journey starts. And the more you time spend, you do this. And we believe that if you're spending time on Router creating or consuming content, we need to add this value to your gaming journey. So by redeeming, say, X number of coins for a gaming voucher, we are helping you play more. That's the
Right.
intrinsic value that we are building. Okay. And we have stuck by it. In fact, this is the same thing we used to do even in sports. So another learning that we picked up from there, another what do you call, gift of having a good or a very tough time building a sports business, that these things have come naturally to our product and naturally to our entire product and tech team. So that's one. Secondly, all creators get paid in multiple ways. So number one, if you are a UGC creator, which means you're not a streamer per se, but you're somebody who's wanting to be one. Depending on how your content is, you'll get some coins. So whether you make
Mhm.
$10 or $100 or $500 a month, a lot of people are making money. 4.3% of those 900,000 creators are making money on Router. This
Oh,
number used
wow.
to be 2.5 or 2.8. The idea is that we want to take it to 10% of all creators making money in the near future. So because, and any money, I'm not saying everybody will make lakhs or thousands or whatever, but if depending on your talent, depending on the time that you're putting in, will give you something. Okay, so that's one. So this is a UGC part. Then everybody who's a part of our creator program, which means we have a creator program where we have like really good, almost 3,000 to 4,000 streamers. I'm talking about face cam streamers, female streamers. All of them have a certain contract with us, and all of them get paid a certain fixed money depending on how they're doing it. Okay, so it can
Nice.
range from anything to say a 5,000 going up to the maximum guy earning 20 lakhs a month. But everybody in that program makes money. Then the top end is that whether, so if you are a superstar streamer, say you are a big guy on YouTube and we have hired you, or if you are, say, an entertainer, whatever, if you're like Tanmay came on our platform and he did few things, so he gets paid according to the way a typical premium influencer will get paid. So that is how they get paid. I mean, it depends on the hour or
Nice.
whatever. And last but not the least, there is also esports tournament. So when we organize esports tournament, the winning team makes money, right? So we
Yeah.
give a prize money, they make money. So everybody is making money in the ecosystem, right?
Hmm.
Then the other thing we also do with, so streamers and all the content creators are getting paid in the way that I just explained to you. We have not started a process where they are getting a cut of the revenue that we are making. We are going to do that, but the idea is that we only want to do it in a very nice way, that once we have scaled and once we have fixed or once we have improved a lot of things on our app. The other thing that we are also doing, and we are launching it with at least 3 4 different platforms, is that we are also getting a lot of brands and a lot of content platforms to sponsor our streamers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to make few announcements in the near future. Let's say a brand X wants that top 100 streamers on Router should wear their accessory. Okay, then they'll pay them a certain money, and then they'll. So we are actually facilitating endorsement. We are working with
Wow. Nice.
multiple influencer agencies or multiple talent agencies to get our streamers a lot of business. So that part is happening. So this is on the creator part. Okay, and similarly, viewers make money. Now let's come to how we make money. Very simply put, one of the things that is very strong about our revenue model is that we are not sticking to just one model or two models and saying maybe this will work, maybe that will work. So at the beginning of this year, thanks to a lot of feedback that investors gave us, thanks to a lot of feedback that our board, our friends around gave us, we said, okay, this year we'll start monetization and see how it works out. So one of the first thing is advertising, right? It's a very high content, very high traffic, product. So there's a lot of native ads which are available in video or
Mm-hmm.
display, and people can consume it. We have one ground rule: we don't put any ad unit which is disturbing your experience. Which means there is no pre-roll, there is no mid-roll, there is no post-roll, there is no what do you call interstitial or something like that. So advertising is hygiene, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing we do is we do multiple esports tournaments and we do multiple content partnerships. So there's a lot of sponsorship money. So that's the second part of B2B. So in B2B, there's advertising, sponsorship, and content marketing or whatever. The third and the most important one for us, and something that we have literally innovated, is basically something called performance marketing. So what we do is, now I'll tell you a thesis behind it. We believe that in India there are so many startups which are getting funded and they're becoming unicorns. All of them are going for just one thing, which is most important. What is it? It's growth, right? So all these apps and platforms need a lot of users. Now when they need a lot of you, and they also need a lot of users at a very low CAC. I mean, that's how your unit
Correct.
economics get better. So what we said is that we have a very distinct advantage of having an audience which is very unique to us, which is 12 to 24 years or 26 years, right? And the idea here is that if we can ensure that our audience is available to all these 100, 200 apps in the country, we will be able to get a very strong and a very scalable business. So we started something called performance marketing, where we work with the top 45 to 50 brands. So all top 45 to 50 apps work with us. They basically are listed on our app. A user can download their app and get a certain coin. And if they do repetitive behavior, they can get paid more. So using our product, we are getting them this audience, which they will not get at
Wow.
any other platform at a cost that we offer. So say on a Facebook, they might get this guy for like a $50. On our platform, they can get it for 25 to $30. More so
Wow.
because we are giving them very unique. So this particular thing. So in nutshell, on an
So you
average
built your
right
own
now,
ad engine of sorts.
absolutely, and this is all ad tech, which means this is all driven by algo. There is no human involvement. The only human involvement is somebody uploads the campaign, and then the algo. This is where our product team has done a fantastic job, led by Dipesh, that they are able to. So everything to do with coin economy, everything to do with algorithm, where the app is showing, where it is showing on the app is decided by this algo. And on an average, currently we are doing anything between 5 lakh to 6 lakh, 500,000 to 600,000 downloads for other apps at a conversion rate of almost 20 rupees plus. Okay. And this is so scalable that we have seen consistently over the last 3 months. This is directly proportional to our DAU. So tomorrow, when we raise more funds and we are able to take our DAU to 3x, the this monetization will become perhaps 3.5x. And that's how it is scalable. And we believe that in India, millions and millions of downloads are getting sought over every month. And we want to be the enabler of a certain age group or a certain TG that nobody else is providing. So this is the third model, and the last model is something called user monetization. So on in B2C, we have launched our own marketplace. So what we do is we have launched another currency called Router Diamond, which basically is a currency that a viewer can buy to gift to a streamer. So this is a great. I don't know. So we didn't
Right.
speak about it, but one of the key things about this community is that there's a lot of gifting. Gifting economy is very big.
Yeah.
So say
Yeah.
I like a streamer, I love to give him say something. So but they don't give real cash. So what they do is they have
Right. Has to
certain
be something. Yeah.
stickers and all which they basically give. So we launched our marketplace with a proper payment gateway to buy router diamonds. That has started to do very well. Almost 500,000 people are buying it every month, and they are
Wow.
gifting it
Nice.
to different people. And now we are adding multiple gaming coupons in that marketplace. So in few days or maybe in a month, you'll be able to buy a BGMI currency or Free Fire currency or any other currency on Router app using
And go
using a
play
payment
there.
gateway. Yeah, go play there. So we are doing exactly the way cred is, right? So you have cred coins, you have a credit card or a payment gateway over there. You want to buy, say, a lamp from cred, you use your coin and you also pay a certain cash and you can get that delivered. So that is what we're
Brilliant.
doing for gaming currency. And the third step is we are also going to sell a lot of gaming accessories. So phones, headphones, cameras, etc. So B2C is going to scale up much better over the next 1 or 2 quarters. The performance marketing is doing very well for us. So is advertising and sponsorship. Yeah. So overall, every engine is doing its bit, but hopefully we'll be able to build one of the most proven monetizable content platform in India, and that's the confidence, that's the feedback we're getting from the market.
That's a lot, Piyush. I mean, what you
Yeah,
just,
I
I mean,
know.
we just got, I mean, if the core tech and the core product wasn't enough, there's this entire monetization product, or which is underneath, right? Which is running
Yeah.
all of these things,
Yeah.
and a lot of this, like you said, is you've built from scratch to sort
Yeah.
of build to tweak around what your core product is, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's amazing that you guys have been doing this and doing this at scale. So what is the next sort of roadmap or chapter for you guys? Obviously, it's scaling the numbers, it's scaling all of this. Uh, uh, is there? Do you see this? The market is your product global today? Is it?
No.
Does it
So it's
compete with
available.
something similar global? Yeah.
So it's available everywhere. I mean, you can use Router anywhere in the world. But I
Right.
mean, it's very simple. We have a very simple. So we are quite popular in the neighboring countries. So
Hmm.
say Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. We have also done multiple global tournaments or the Southeast Asian level tournaments also. But no, we are not focusing in any other market except India at this stage. We are getting a lot of creators from say Nepal or a Bangladesh or a Sri Lanka, but from a viewer perspective, I mean, we are not spending our marketing dollars on any other
Right.
geography except for India. And the reason for that is we want to first get to 25 million monthly active users in the next 12 months before we decide to go international or any other market. And the reason is that all these games are pretty global, and the tech is very simple, and nobody is a clear leader globally in mobile game streaming. So Twitch is the
Right.
global leader. They are huge. They are in fact a huge
Correct.
inspiration for us. But they're not very strong in mobile gaming markets because mobile
Yeah,
game
they're
streaming is a very
console and
different.
computer PC
That's
gaming.
right.
Yes.
So there is a lot of opportunity. I mean, for us to get into any developed or developing market is very much a possibility. Depends on what we can raise, how we can sort of go forward from here. But to answer your question on how we go from here and what's there. So first and the foremost is that in India, the game streaming literally category was created on YouTube. I'm not saying YouTube went ahead and created it. It's basically because they were the biggest content platform and people started over there, so they have the top 100 streamers. But the fact is that uh, the platform which gets the next 100,000 streamers, or maybe to start with 10,000 professional streamers, is the one that will have a huge headspace in the market, right? So
Right.
that's our first thing. We are almost there. We are at least 60-70% through to at least a 10,000 bracket and get to there. So our first goal is to come out as a clear market leader in terms of Indian platforms. We are already growing 6x faster than the competition. The number of users, etc. All of that is we are the only one monetizing. So there is a certain um, what do you call a certain stage we are already at. But the idea is that how can we ensure that we come out and we are a clear market leader in this space. The second is of course the fact that and that is because the market currently is between YouTube, Router and Loco, right? So Loco and Router have different strategies. They've done quite well. They have a certain way in which they are trying to build the market. We are completely different from them, and we are trying to build it in a different way. And we like to believe that probably the direction that we're taking would come out well. But it's always good to have a good competitor who's also pushing the market, and they're also kind of developing this market in a
Expanding
huge
the
way.
market, if nothing else. Yeah.
Exactly. But the fact of the matter is that for us, it's not two of us which is the competition. It's YouTube, and YouTube is
Right.
also not per se a competition. I mean, they are the biggest in India or globally. But the fact is that we have to ensure that at a certain point in time by next year, Indians first think of us as the platform they want to come and consume, and we get a lot of active users over here, and purely because of the community that we're building, which is the number of streamers.
Right.
On the technology part, the team is working on multiple different ways to improve it, whether it is personalization, whether it is improving the tech further. How do we make it to a stage where it's the strongest mode for us, where somebody will take about 6-8 months just to sort of get even closer to the kind
Yeah.
of tech we have built. And so is happening on the product. We are working a lot on the ad tech part. So we are literally trying to build maybe 3 months from now will allow any brands to list their ad on the router without a human intervention. So something like a
Nice.
self-answer model. And last but not the least, the monetization part. I mean, I'm very, very excited. So is the rest of the team to see how can we build this marketplace. I mean, they see every product in India has to be a fintech product. You cannot just
Yeah.
say we are just X. So we have a certain element of fintech now. The idea is that how can we, which is the entire B2C fintech part. So we
Correct.
want to
Correct.
explore and see all opportunities of fintech coming in within our product. And yeah, these are few things that
That's
we want to attend
That's
in the next
amazing.
year.
The fact that you said everyone has to become, I mean, at some level, if you're scaled enough as a
Yeah,
product, you become a fintech product. And that's so
yeah,
true because it's an
yeah.
underlying layer of business that you can't ignore. So, Piyush, on that note, like, you want to do a shout out to folks who have been listening? Are you guys like hiring? Where do people reach you? Are you like maybe shout out your Twitter handle or something like that just to sort of give us some
Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
closing notes?
absolutely. No, I think firstly, sincere thanks to two of you and the rest of the team for allowing me to share all the views. It makes a lot of difference in the journey of an entrepreneur because while I'm speaking, but I'm speaking on behalf of my entire team, my co-founder Dipesh and everybody, right?
Right.
These are the platforms where we are able to say a lot of things, which is very difficult to say in a post or a LinkedIn or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
things, and completely depends on the kind of questions. I mean, everything that we discussed today is very unique. I haven't really discussed it as much before, so thanks for that. No, I mean, see, the thing that I want to tell everybody here is that gaming, when you look around in India and most and anywhere else in the world, you'll see people doing two things, particularly in India right now. Either they are consuming content or they're playing game. Okay, when they
Mhm.
are when they are on their phone, which basically means game streaming is being backed by two very core habits, or very two core sectors here. And that is the reason it's going to be a massive industry. In fact, from where we see things, whether it is commerce, whether it is the world of crypto NFTs, or all these things, everything will start, coming in game streaming. So for people who believe and who want to think how far it can go, this is just the start. Hopefully, the next 5 years to 10 years will literally decide how big this will become, and this will be the next social media. People will connect over here. So anybody who wants to be a part of our journey, or who wants to work with us, or who wants to use our product and become a streamer, because for us it's not just the funds or the people who work with us. The most important thing is we want more and more people to play, become streamers. It's a fantastic career to have, right? So
Yeah.
if you are a gamer, try becoming a streamer. It will just take 2 hours of you in a day, but the kind of money you can make, and the kind of following you can make, and the kind of career, or eventually becoming an influencer, route opens up for you is quite big. And last but not the least, I have to bring in my brand name over here, that keep rooting for us.
Mhm.
Everybody who talks about Rooter at some or the other stage is going to help us reach out to bigger, audience. And I'm on Twitter at right to Piyush. It's my handle over there. Please reach out. We can have multiple conversations. And yeah, look forward to playing our role in this industry in the future.
Awesome, great. I'd just like to remind everybody really quickly, a rating or a review wherever you're listening to the podcast does help us a lot. And you can always reach out to Shiladitya and myself as well on Twitter. And I think we're reasonably responsive. I'm not a big
Yes, we
star like
are. And
Shiladitya, but
You guys are. You
no,
guys
no,
are.
we
I
are
can vouch for it.
more than happy anytime someone talks to us. And, Piyush,
uh,
thank you so much. This was an awesome conversation. I've learned a lot more about, what Router is and what you guys are doing. And it's fascinating, really, the depth at which, we could also have this chat. I'm glad, Shunya One is a tech show, and we always like going deep into tech and product conversations. And thank you for sharing so much with us
No,
about
thank
the
you so
business.
much.
So
Thank you
it's
so
really
much.
great.
It's all about the thread we are able to build as three of us together, and it's all about the questions that you asked. And yeah, as I said, I'm representing my team, and I'm so happy we could discuss all of it.
Definitely, and more success coming your way for sure. We will uh, catch up with. We'll all be rooting for you, as you said. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, and thanks for this awesome chat.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I V M.